It's been a while. I dropped Morgan off in the middle of nowhere on his bike and then left him there. So he's gone and I drove back and then I did nothing for a few hours. It's now 11. I'm trying to get ahead and do 2.5 weeks worth of work in 1 week so that I can go on vacation with my family. I'm mostly done. I have a few annotated bibliography entries to do and some topofocal analyses to do, 3 of them. Actually, I have 12 annotated bibliographies to do, but I've done 4 of them, so I only have 6 left. No, that makes 10. I have 8 left. I also need to finish reading The Last Unicorn. And then the rest of it is basically just waiting for other people to do the discussion boards so I can respond to them. So I have the annotated bibliographies, the topofocal analyses, and reading to do. And then everything else is basically waiting on other people. So I'm gonna do that. I don't remember which one. I do not remember which one I need to read for the next one. Bloop. Okay. No one else has applied. Great. Love that for me. Annotated bibliography 5. James Edward epics in 3 parts. The class is fantasy fiction, and the research that I'm doing for the bibliography is on the theory of fantasy, which sounds interesting, and it is interesting. It's just not what you think it is, right? So like the idea is, how do you define fantasy as a genre? Is it a genre? Is it something else? What are the boundaries of that genre? Are there boundaries of that genre? What is the canon of that genre? What comes to mind when people think of that genre? And a lot of the papers that I'm reading have different answers to all of those questions, although almost all of them mention Tolkien. So he seems to be pretty central in the idea of fantasy. But why that is unclear, because he's not the first fantasy writer, nor is he the most successful fantasy writer. He just happens to be the fantasy writer that everybody knows, and a lot of people copied him, especially in the 60s and 70s. So there's that. I just read a paper by which one was it? For Brian Atterbury about the different ways of defining fantasy. And what Atterbury says is that fantasy can be a mode, like a way of telling a story, a genre, like a boundary of certain kinds of stories, or a formula, which is the structure in which a story is written. But all of these things set the boundary of fantasy in different areas, and when you ask people what fantasy is, everybody has a different answer. So his argument is that fantasy is more of a genre because it's sort of in the middle. It's kind of how, for animals, bird is a genre, and robin might be the quintessential idea of what a bird looks like in your head, but on the boundaries you also have penguins and ostriches and emus, and if you put in other definitions, you could also have animals like bats or insects in your definition of the genre of bird. In fact, some insects have bird in their name, like ladybird or ladybug. So that's what he proposes is fantasy, because the lines between sci-fi, fantasy, and fiction are very, very fuzzy and really just depend on what the writer thinks they're writing and what the reader thinks they're reading. So, but now I'm reading Edward James's epics in 3 parts from the Journal of the Fantastic Arts, because that's what it is. Oh, I've been doing a wheel still, even though I haven't been showing you. My list is so long, but this is today. I really like the sticker. First is Annotated Bibliography 5, then response discussions, which might be posted after that, I don't know. I got the adapter, the USB to USB-C, so I can start transferring things over to my new computer. I don't necessarily want to use the new computer until I have the case, which the case should be coming either tomorrow or the day after. We're doing more studying. My fan's on, so it's gonna be loud. This is rough. Today, I have to finish annotated bibliography number 7, and submit the annotated bibliography 1 through 7, which should be fine. Just pick an article and read, and then write about it. If possible, I also want to do annotated bibliography 8, and look to see if anyone has responded. I can do that now. See if anyone has responded to previous discussion boards. The last one was due yesterday and nobody responded to it. Because I saw it was a little bit difficult to finish that one. Ooh, there's a survey. I'm gonna do that. I'm just going to submit survey. You sure? Yes. Submit survey. Yes. More people have replied to my discussion board. There's one person in this class. I'm not sure if English is just not his first language, or if in getting the words from his head onto the keyboard it's not coming out the right way, but I don't know if I understand what he's trying to say. I don't think it matters, but his original discussion was also kind of difficult to understand. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Round up due date 8. I just noticed that one of the quiz questions, who blends the moral values of SNS with world building depth? The correct answer was George R.R. Martin, but it was not an option. I did know that, and I did email him about that. Therefore, I added 1 point onto everybody's quiz score. If I make that mistake again in the future, please let me know. I did. Now for the topofocal analysis. I hope you enjoyed the exercise. Several people had excellent answers, and I'll just highlight mine as one that hit a lot of the big points. Wow! For the next due date, we'll have our first 7 annotated bibliography entries due. 5 of them original. We did 2 last week. And I hope my feedback has given you a strong idea of what we're looking for in these annotations. Keep in touch if you have any questions or concerns, but otherwise, good luck. Okay. Well, that's fun. What do I need to do? Oh, look for responses. That's what I'm doing. Yes, this one. This one is due... Where does it say when it's due? No one's responded to it anyways. But when is it due? July 27th. Oh, so I have like a week. I'm a week early on this one. Okay, I get it. I understand why nobody has responded yet. But I will be on vacation on the 27th, which is why I've done it now. That's what I'm trying to do, is trying to get ahead so that when I go on vacation, I don't have to worry about it. Okay, due date 13, due August 1st. That's what I'm working on now. I already submitted reactions to The Last Unicorn. That was a wild book. There's so much going on in that story, and I don't think I understood any of it. Okay, so we need to do Disenchantment of the World, and Being versus Becoming, and bibliography. Which article should we read? I have all of them. I'm planning on reading them in the car on the way to Newport. So I have all 9 of them here, and I can choose any of them to read. I labeled them on my Notion page. 7. David G. Hartwell, The Making of the American Fantasy Genre. Okay, I'm gonna read. I've wasted 23 minutes.